Hey traders, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about STRN Company stock, ticker symbol STRN. Now, this is another one of these new hot low float IPO stocks that has taken over FinTwit and the internet as a whole, as part of the Zach Morris index. And this is a stock and a company I believe has a very, very bright future ahead. Huge acquisition potential and huge potential to absolutely skyrocket in the coming weeks. So in this video, I'm going to break down a little bit of DD on this stock. I'm going to go over the private placement that occurred this week, explain, what that means for this stock moving forward. And then finally, take a look at the chart. There is an absolutely beautiful setup on this chart right now that kind of, leads me to believe we could see an absolute explosion of this stock in the coming weeks. So I'm going to break that down for you guys. So without any further ado, leave a thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It helps me out tremendously, and let's get started. So there has been some phenomenal DD threads done on FinTwit from Mr. Mike Investing and Holy Chit. We're going to kind of go over a little bit of highlights from both of these, great kind of follows on Twitter if you are in the trading world. Just going over the highlights of this company, why I believe it has such a strong future potential. So kind of starting with this DD thread from Mr. Mike Investing. As you guys can see here, it is a low float stock, but some of, the highlights here, it is a cash positive company with a large acquisition opportunity and very, very experienced management team that knows what they're doing, that has been, in the industry for a while. And some of the brands that they work with and, do work for are, some of the biggest and most recognizable brands for all of us. Okay, we see Coca-Cola, Verizon, New Balance, Philips, Samsung, the Patriots, Xfinity, DraftKings, and a ton of more companies that STRN Company currently works with and does work for. So that is very, very positive. They're well established in the field, and as such a low float stock with such a small market cap, to be working with all these partners is very impressive. It shows that this is a very, very undervalued company at current levels. Continuing with that, we currently see just a lot of news and hype around this stock. This has been covered by @HolyChit on Twitter. Another great follow if you are interested in this company. We are looking at the quiet period ending very, very soon, 12/20. That's when we're going to start to see a lot more PR released for this company. But as you guys can see, it is set up beautifully. The private placement we're about to hop into has closed. And next up, the acquisition announcements potentially, with this quiet period ending, we can see, these potential acquisitions start to be released. So that is very, very exciting. And I believe that this is, the kind of company that could get acquired for billions of dollars with, kind of the established work that they've done so far. But now we do have to talk about the private placement. This is some news that, a lot of investors and traders don't like to see. We saw that they had a 21.7 million private placement that closed on Wednesday. It did give the stock, a pretty big dip at open that got bought up by a lot of smart traders early on in Wednesday morning. And, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. As far as diluting a stock goes, this is pretty much the best thing you can see. You are seeing by this that, big institutions want to buy in to STRN Company at these low prices, because even with the dilution of the shares factored in, they believe that this stock is going very, very high up in the future, and that they are going to make a very profitable investment by getting in at these low prices. So that's kind of why we saw the dip get kind of ate up. And nevertheless, this is only a $21.7 million dollar private placement. This is going to be money that helps the company continue to grow and operate. And also, it's not going to dilute the shares by that much. Currently we are, trading around $5, and, that's about 4 to 5 million shares kind of getting diluted and added into the total shares outstanding. That's really nothing to panic about. This is still a very low float stock that has, high potential to move on any given day. So with that all being said, let's hop into the charts, because right now what we are seeing is an absolutely incredible setup, a little bit longer term. Now, the stock, hasn't been trading for a while. IPO came out in early November, but here we have already a beautiful little cup and handle setup. It's one of the most recognizable setups as, a trader. And what we see here is also a beautiful pennant forming starting when, kind of that private placement news was announced. We got that big dip, but now ever since we've been kind of coiling in this pattern, it's going to come to an end soon. And, with the quiet period ending soon, we could definitely see this break to the upside and then, go test these previous highs at 627. And if we do get that break above, this thing could start to fly. We're talking $10, $15, $20. This is a company that is severely undervalued. So who knows how high this thing can go. But right now, this is an absolutely beautiful setup with the pennant and the cup and handle. So with that being said, let's hop into our levels so we know how to best play this stock moving into this next week. What we're seeing right now as far as support levels is a lot, of kind of big support and resistance in this $5 range. 542 is going to be your first support level. After that, we do have support at 535 and 525. This entire zone has served as a good support level ever since this stock IPO'd. We see a lot of buyers step in when we do come to test these levels, and then when it serves as resistance, we do see a lot of sellers come in and buyers try to break that resistance, which so far has been successfully done quite a few times. If we do go below that, it does kind of open up a little bit more. We're going to see some tests of this 515 to $5 level, and below that room all the way to 481 and 455. And as you guys can see, if it does go all the way down to test these levels, those dips are going to get bought up quickly. So make sure you have those levels marked out. And if you are looking to, buy a position or add to your position, make sure you're, ready to strike when you do get a good dip, because we might not see these dips for much longer. And like I always say, by buying at support levels, you end up minimizing your risk and maximizing your upside. But speaking of upside, when it comes to resistance levels, just like support levels, we see a lot going on here in this $5 range. 560 to 570 range has served as a huge resistance level. Above that, we do have resistance at 587, $6, and of course at this 618 to 627 range, which is where our current highs are. Above that, we don't have any established resistance because those would be new highs. And like I said, as a result, especially with this cup and handle setup, especially with, the pennant breakout potential, we could see the stock start to fly. And it's ultimately a very, very exciting setup. But now going into our moving averages, obviously we don't have any longer term moving averages to go over since the stock has only been publicly traded for a month or so. With that being said, short-term moving averages, we do have our 9-day EMA at 502 and our 21-day EMA at 459. Currently, the stock is sitting well above both of those levels. That is a bullish indicator. It shows that short term, the momentum is in the bulls' favor, and that's something you want to see. Now let's hop into our RSI and MACD levels. Okay, RSI, we can see that, this private placement actually helped quite a bit with cooling off the RSI. We were in overbought territory. Now we are back in neutral territory. So if we do get this break above the pennant, well, all of a sudden, we have a lot of room to run before we get back into overbought territory. That's something you want to see. And then as far as the RSI goes, or the MACD goes, we do also see that we did cool off quite a bit. We were getting a little bit overextended prior to the Wednesday morning dip. And now we have kind of started to coil a little bit, and we are looking for kind of a reversal and to go back to the upside. So, ultimately just about as clean of a chart setup as you're going to find. And I am very, very excited to see what comes of it come Monday, because, this pennant is looking to kind of find its end and kind of make a decision sooner than later. But if we do get that break to the upside, really watch for this test of, new highs, and above that, who knows? Especially once we get out of this quiet period and start seeing some PR come out, this thing could, not only hit $10, but it could really start to make a push for 15, 20. I think, the opportunity here is unlimited. But with that being said, let me know what you think. I'm always excited to hear your guys' feedback. If you have any questions for me, let me know. I'm happy to answer them. You can hit me up on Twitter or respond in the comments down below. If you like this video, hit me with a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, please subscribe to the channel. And aside from that, have a great rest of your weekend.